As we start wrapping up 2008 and head into 2009, we thought we would spend some time with the Allen County Board of Commissioners taking a look back at some of the accomplishments of the past year and ahead to some of the challenges in the coming year. And with me, left to right, is Commissioner Nelson Peters, Commissioner Linda Bloom, and Commissioner Bill Brown. We appreciate you spending some time with us right now.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bloom, let's begin with you and talk a little bit about a couple of big road projects that got to move forward in 2008. Maple Crest Road Extension, I know that's a project that's been near and dear to you for a while, and the ball is now rolling, and we're looking at next year groundbreaking.
Yes, we are. That was a project that we brought out of the archives, as I put it, because it was back in the 70s. And it was in the master plan for the Maple Crest road from bypass one end to the other, and a north-south arterial, and something that had just not happened because of the cost, because it does include 4 bridges, and 2 of them are bigger than any bridges we have in Allen County.
And we kind of joke about it a little bit, but it has been on the drawing board for a long time, but in reality, based on the transportation plans that were put together years ago, we're actually ahead of schedule on that. Is that right?
That's correct. The final design and right-of-way and construction was never supposed to be completed until 2012. And that's our goal, is 2012.
And the projections for this area in terms of what this project will bring, growth from an economic standpoint, some residential growth as well expected. This is going to mean big things for that part of Allen County.
Absolutely. From Lake Avenue down to 930, we'll have another north-south arterial, like I said, on the east side of the county, which right now we have none. And let's face it, we've got the 4 sets of tracks, the big river, and this will be a great project from Lake Avenue to 930.
And another big project that is underway now is Fort to Port along US 24, and of course the portion that runs through Allen County. I know that again is something that you've been involved in, and nice to see ground broken for that project this year.
Yeah, even though we couldn't get that shovel in the ground very well. Hard dirt. That's the 11 miles going east toward Ohio, and we told them we'd meet them at the line on Old 9, so they started on the east part of the project for phase 1, and that includes 1 smaller bridge, 2 big interchanges, and the other interchange, the one interchange will be at 101, State Road 101. The other one will be at Webster Woodburn. And then there's going to be a buggy bridge down at Berwick and Ryan. It's part of the Governor's Major Moves program. We were very fortunate to get that money. The first phase came in under budget, so we're hoping that, of course, I also just read in the paper that the interest rates are so much lower. But I'm certainly hoping that there'll be enough to do the other interchange.
Well, hopefully. Commissioner Peters, let's talk about a couple of projects you were involved in. One that has come to become reality now is the merger of city-county land use divisions. Tell us a little bit about how that came about.
Right. We actually began looking at that at the end of 2005. And moving forward, we enlisted the help of a company called Management Partners, I believe, out of Cincinnati. And they developed several scenarios for us in which to move us forward, and a template that we could look at potential mergers of other departments in the future from. And you know, as is sometimes typical, there was a lot of thought. Maybe sometimes you overthink these things that went into this merger. And finally, effective March of 2008, we were able to open the doors on a brand new city-county land use planning department. We've been able to save about $150,000 throughout that process, but of course those dollars have been used up on some of the other things we needed to move ahead with. But I think it means greater efficiencies for the public. It means a lot better things in terms of how this community will be viewed from a development perspective, and we anticipate good things moving ahead.
You've also been involved in the development of a strategic plan for
Right.
county government. How's that going so far?
I think it's going very well. Public sector employment, public sector government doesn't typically embark on such an initiative. But as we looked at Allen County, we thought, you know, it's really ripe for developing some long-term strategic planning processes. And in looking at this, we looked at other governments throughout the Midwest, throughout the United States, and in fact found that there were only a handful in the Midwest who were actually doing strategic planning. The idea behind strategic planning is really to put us in a position where we can look backwards to see where we've been so we can help plan for the future. So we can look at things 5 years, 10 years out in terms of, you know, how many police cars will we need on the street? How many employees will we need in county government? What kind of programs will help really develop this community so we can plan from a capital and a budgetary standpoint on how to create more efficient government?
And that plan expected to be
We're hoping
ready
first
in
quarter
09?
of '09.
Okay, sounds good. Commissioner Brown, a couple of areas you've been involved in, I know, one of which has been openness of government and also public accessibility. And that brings to mind the expansion of hours now for most of the county government offices. How has that been received so far?
Well, that was a collaboration of the commissioners, this whole concept of flex time and trying to be more accessible to the public by going to the 8 to 4:30, from 8 to 4:30, 8 to 5, matching up to the city hours. It's also allowed, particularly our building department, we're able to get out to the job sites earlier in the morning to do the inspections. It allows for a little bit more quality time with our employees to spend with their families and other things that they're interested in. That piece of openness also connects to the fact that the commissioners have 2 public meetings each week, one videotaped on Friday, then a public meeting on Monday with the media, so that we continue to operate in a very open fashion. And it does sometimes get us in a position where we're putting out information as we are working through some of these things, and it's not quite, it's not a complete product, and I think people need to be aware of that. So as we develop our course of action, we've been dedicated to be very, very open and public about that.
And also at Commissioners' Night Out meetings that took place this year, response was good at some of these meetings. We saw a lot of folks, especially in Harlan, the last one we held recently, who showed up. These seem to be well received from the public.
Oh, I think they are. And our hats off to you, Mike. You've done a wonderful job getting out there into the communities and